La la la. La 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 la. Let's see if this actually works this time. Hey, Marcy. Oh, it says we have an excellent condition. So all we have to do is get a picture and then we will be good. There I am. Sweet. Welcome aboard, everyone, including Marcy and so far nobody else. Apologize for the delay. I'm at the Rusty Boy Studios and the system was not cooperating this morning. Here we are now. So please sit back, enjoy. Oh, hello, Denise. You're familiar with the Rusty Boy Studios. Hello, Anne. You're familiar with Rusty and Good Boys in general. Having a wonderful time up here in Seattle. Just thought I'd jump on for a few minutes and talk about the news of the day. Now, part of the news of the day is that there was a gun incident on the subway in New York, and it is being covered endlessly, because and it should be because the media channels are all in New York City. This affects them directly. Oh my God, they've ridden the subway before. They don't ride the subway anymore. Some of them. But it's huge news there. And there's also video. And so they cover because, you know, Democratic crime wave, Biden, blah, blah, blah. Crime is down significantly in New York since the days of Giuliani. Double digit decreases. But the perception, because the media keeps showing New York crime over and over and over again, is that crime is way up. It's really not. Oh, it depends on when it's up from. Under Obama, when everything was peachy and rosy in the United States, it is up since then. It is up. Some crime is up since last year. Some crime is down last year. It's all up compared to pre-pandemic, except for burglaries, because everybody's sitting at home. Now that we're all going back to work, expect burglaries to increase. Um, um, Producer Jojo says, like the live stream, get a surprise. I don't know what the surprise. I want the surprise. Can I like the live stream? Is that allowed? Hi, Cindy. Hi, Libby. Good to see you, Deidre. Good morning. Good afternoon for those of you in weird time zones. Hold on. It says, please check the video resolution. The current resolution is something which is not optimal. Oh my God. I am so sorry that my resolution is not optimal right now. This is what my laptop does. Um, you know what, guys? Blame Marcy, really, when it comes right down to it. So this is being covered. This shooting in New York. The first 20 minutes of every broadcast is being covered. Shooting in New York. Good, and we need to stop this. And everybody comes out and says this stops now by doing what? Nothing. Moving on. Shooting in Sacramento. 5 dead. Oh, there was a shooting in Sacramento. Moving on. We might cover the police conference. Moving on. Oh, there was a shooting the week before in Sacramento. 2, 3, 5 people dead. Moving on. Shooting 2 weeks before that in Sacramento. Moving on. That's how we live. But because it's New York, and this media is New York centric, we have to hear about the New York subway shooting. We're not going to cover it today. The coverage is available online. There's no way to analyze it except to say it's really bad. People should not be shot. That's just me. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I don't think that people should shoot other people. I suppose self-defense, but you know, that enters into a weird territory as well. Jojo says, I tried to get my 8 free tests again at Walmart and they're out again. Okay, I don't know why you keep going back to the Walmart. Well, I do, because that's where you charge your car. But if you don't know, and it's amazing to me how many people don't know this, you get 8 tests a month for free. Everybody in your household who has insurance, which should be everybody, because anybody can have insurance in this country, believe it or not. All you have to do is ask for it. If you have insurance, if you have a kid who has insurance, if you have a husband who has insurance, if you have a wife who has insurance, if you have whatever who has insurance, you're all entitled to 8 free tests a month, every month. That was a bill, or that was an executive order, actually, that Biden put down in January. So since the middle of January, the 15th or the 18th or whatever, remember when, oh, there's no test and everyone can't take the test and it's all Biden's fault. You should have a stockpile of tests by now. These are not the tests that you go to covidtest.gov and they send you the tests in the mail. Not those tests. Go online to your insurance company's website. Find out what you need to do. In my case, and I have different insurance than producer Jojo. In my case, I just go to my Rite Aid and show them my insurance card. Actually, I pick up my prescriptions at Rite Aid. Not that I'm endorsing Rite Aid. I'm just saying that's where my prescriptions are sent. I go to the Rite Aid and I say, "Hey, can I have my 8 free tests?" And they, okay, here you go. And they actually have the tests in a paper bag ready to go. Here are 8 COVID tests, rapid COVID tests. Enjoy. So go do that if you're not already. There are plenty of COVID tests out there. The pharmacy you choose to go to, for example, the Walgreens, no, sorry, not the Walgreens, the Walmart that producer Jojo goes to, they are out right now. I previously picked up 8 tests at that Walmart. So it just depends on when the tests come in and who has what. And you're welcome to just call your pharmacy. Hey, do you have any of those COVID tests, those rapid COVID tests? Some healthcare systems will say, go buy the test and then we'll reimburse you. Hopefully that's not yours, but almost all of them have something that is in network. I know at Random was just talking about she has to go to an in network pharmacy. The pharmacy just down the street here is just a little weird, like a compounding pharmacy. Those aren't weird, by the way, they're essential. But anyway, they don't do it. They're not in her network, but maybe Rite Aid or CVS or Bartell's or whoever's around, maybe they're in her network. I'm sure she can figure it out. They have the test. And if they don't have the test, go somewhere that has the test. Call ahead. At one of my Rite Aids, they had them in a bag behind the counter, and they just, here you go. And they had just like stacks and stacks of these bags prepackaged because people were coming in saying, "Can I have my free test?" Anyway, I'm beating a dead horse here because the dead horse didn't get a rapid test. Oh, at Random, it's not a compounding pharmacy. It's just a weird pharmacy, like in a in an office building. And I do know this about that pharmacy. That pharmacy does deliveries. That's what that pharmacy is set up to do. I talked to a guy who used to drive for that pharmacy, and he would take stuff from that pharmacy, and overnight he would drive. That's what he did for a living, and made pretty good money doing it too. Okay, it is weird. Yeah, I don't. The judges aren't here. I'm in Seattle. There's nothing I can do about verifying any of the things I'm saying, and or at Random is saying. I mean, really, that's the case all the time for at Random when it comes right down to it. So something about a dog. Ann said something about a dog. If a lady who coaxed the guy's dig, if the lady who coaxed the guy's dog into the traffic in Marcy's video had tried that with my dog, who'd be on the, oh, whoa, 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 I don't even want to know anything about that. Andrew says our AM came yesterday in horribly sick. Our AM came in yesterday horribly sick. I think is what Anders is trying to say. Anders then tested positive after the fact. It took me calling my manager, an irresponsible person, for him to come in and send the AM home. Wow. Yeah, don't go places if you're sick, people. Stop it. We're done with that. Oh, I got to get to work. Nobody in the office wants you coughing and sneezing around them. Trust me. Young people, more and more now, a new study was just released a couple of days ago. More and more young people having strokes after getting COVID. Young people have no business having strokes. It happens, but it's a rarity. More and more young people having strokes. It is a vascular disease. It is a respiratory disease. It does both. Don't get it if you can avoid it. And if you get it, I'm really sorry. But there you have it. What is Rusty saying? I had to shut Rusty out of the room because at Random is working right now, and Rusty just goes to me and then checks that I'm here, and then goes out to at Random and checks that she's there, and then comes back to, and it's just constant. In fact, I can see him underneath the door. And besides, this is Rusty's bedroom, really, when it comes right down. It's his studios. So I shouldn't be shutting him out. But if I let him in here, then he's going to want, after 5 minutes, he's going to want to get up and go check and make sure that at Random is still there. He's a herder. That's what he does. And I don't want to herd the guy. Andrew says that anything that messes with your lungs basically affects every other system in your body. Yeah. Speaking of messing with systems, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, is putting immigrants on buses after they've been released by the federal government, at which point, and to be clear, if they've been released by the federal government into the United States, they are legal. They are no longer illegal aliens. They have temporary legal status in this country. If they are waiting on a deportation hearing, they can work. They can apply to work in this country. Right now, we have 11 million open jobs. And I'm rounding up or down. It just depends on the latest stats. 11 million. That's a record. We have businesses, small businesses, big businesses across the country who cannot find workers. We need bodies. We need healthy young men and or women to do the job. Now, asylum is something different. But if you're asylum, you can apply to work. Sometimes you can work right away. Asylum in general, if you're an asylum seeker, 365 days after you've been admitted into the country, you can start working. They're looking at changing that. They tried to change that years ago with the Gang of Eight, and the Republicans they crapped out on what they said they were going to do. And so it never happened because it would have been a huge win for Obama, and you can't give the Democrats a win because you're the party of no. Deidre's stupid governor. Yeah, so anyway, Greg Abbott is putting these immigrants on buses. Who knows what they're being told? But he ordered his people to put them on buses and send them to Washington, D.C. Thank you. You're doing Maryland a favor. You're doing Virginia a favor. You're doing Delaware a favor. You're doing anywhere close to D.C. a favor. Did I say failure? I mean, it's nothing but a failure. First off, what he's doing is illegal. The states cannot set immigration policy. That was determined in Arizona versus the United States. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that on your own. Only the federal government can set immigration policy. But okay, offer these guys a free bus ride out of Texas. Thank you, where it's 185 degrees. Thank you, up to DC, where it's probably minus 80 today. But that's like metric. So is DC metric yet? Why are we not metric, people? I was up in Canada yesterday. So much easier. Do you know that in the Canadian dollar, there's 100 cents? How easy is the math on that? Get with it, America. Anyway, he's putting these immigrants on buses and busing them to the DC area, dropping them off a few blocks from the capital. All right. I mean, they're legal. They have status in this country. And guess what? That's happening to them anyway. Sometimes they're released just into Texas. Texas communities are being overwhelmed with the immigrants who are legal. The immigrants with the temporary legal status until their court date. If they miss their court date, they're no longer legal. If the court says you've got to be deported, they are no longer, well, they're legal, but they have to be deported. Yeah, but you can't force someone to get on a bus. There's nothing. This is just a publicity stunt. But if he's offered them a free bus ride to DC to get out of Texas, to get farther away from the border, even if I was anticipating never showing up for my court date, I'd be like, yeah, where are we going? 1,000, 1,500 miles north? I have no idea. Again, metric. I know it's exactly 1,875 kilometers because I'm metric. But the miles between the Texas border and DC, I don't know how many kilometers it is. Marcy says jails and hospitals used to do this, and it's called Greyhound therapy. Yeah, the city of LA did this before the Olympics. They took all the homeless people in LA, put them on buses, and drove them out the riverside, dropped them off. Here's $20. And so for the Olympics, there was a homeless problem in LA. And then Riverside had a huge homeless problem. Now it's everywhere. Let's see what the folks on Outnumbered on Fox and Friends have to say about this this problem here.
From the U.S. Capitol. It's part.
Oh, this before we even get into this. Here's what Governor Abbott is doing. Deidre mentioned this, and I know exactly what she's talking about. So, Governor Greg Abbott decided that every truck coming into the border across the Texas border from Mexico needs to be double secret inspected. So he's having, first off, the CBP doing a wonderful job at the border. They're inspecting the trucks. Okay. They look inside. Do you guys have migrants here? They can't come in through here. Do you have drugs in here? They can't come in. All of these, you can be arrested. Vast majority of drugs, by the way, 95%, no one's really sure, come in across legal entries. They build special compartments. You guys have seen the shows. So Governor Greg Abbott has decided that every truck coming across that border, once they're through the border, once they've been cleared by the United States Customs and Border Patrol, they need to be re-inspected by the Texas Department of whatever. Okay, so number one, huge waste of Texas taxpayer money. Number two, he's causing 4 mile backups. The valleys are full of trucks to the point where they go all the way back to the border, and now the borders are backed up as well. Goods are not being shipped into the United States because of the massive backups. And here's the thing, here's the great thing about this nonsense is that they can't find any immigrants. The Texas inspectors, the state inspectors from Texas, they're not allowed to look at the cargo. All they can do is say, like, well, your tires are inflated to the right. Well, this one's 4, so I'm writing you up for that. The license plate is a little bit crooked. They're just doing like DOT inspections. They can't look inside the vehicle. It's so ridiculous. And it's clogging up industry. It's clogging up fruit and vegetables not getting to their destinations. It's going to cause delay on car parts coming from Mexico. Anything that comes across the border. And keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff that's made in Mexico and comes into the United States and or grown in Mexico. It's going to cause produce to rot. The produce brokers in the Texas area are having orders canceled because those avocados, by the time they get to the QFC, in Portland are not going to be ripe anymore because they're being delayed for days. All because Greg Abbott is doing double inspections for, for no reason. He's not finding any migrants. I have not heard. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps something has happened. But when I looked yesterday, no drugs had been recovered because they can't go inside the vehicles. It is so insane and such a huge waste of taxpayer money. Marcy says the big story today was the sixth inning bunt that San Francisco laid down on the Padres yesterday. I didn't see it. Shall we watch that, guys? We want to break for hi, Chris. If you want to break for sports news, we can do that too. So far, we are. Give me a moment. I'll tell you. We are 17 minutes into the broadcast, and we haven't really done anything yet. But it's spilling Covfefe, so welcome aboard. I encourage you guys to chat. Deidre's absolutely right. Thanks for reminding me of that, Deidre. What Greg Abbott is doing is ridiculous. Right now, Greg Abbott and Beto O'Rourke are in a statistical tie in Texas in terms of the gubernatorial race coming up. Greg Abbott is sitting at about 43% when I checked, and it's like a 2-3% margin of error on any of these polls. And Beto O'Rourke's about 40%. So statistically, they're tied because it could go either way. One of them might be 5 points up on the other one. I mean, that's the margin of error. That's how it works. And the one who would be up by that much is Abbott, but Beto could also be in the lead. Here's the problem. That's an incumbent. Greg Abbott is an incumbent. If you're below 50% as an incumbent, you're in trouble because the undecideds will almost always swing for the challenger. That being said, we're a long way away from the general election and when the state general election, the midterms for the federal government. So lots of things can change. Joanna G says, "I'm into tennis. I'm amazed Marcy is up for on everything." What did we say about the sports? Yeah, did we? I think the. Have you seen the video of Pence dressing down Putin? It is chilling. I'm surprised Vlad did not resign in shame. Is that really a thing, Chris? I have not seen it. Let's just see what Outnumbered has to say about busing the migrants up to DC for free, doing Maryland a favor. By the way, Maryland is so desperate for employees, not just for the small businesses, but in general, that the state recently relieved the qualifications, lowered the qualifications for working for the state. In order to work for the state in most of the positions previous to about a month ago, you had to have a 4-year college degree. They just waived that. They're so desperate for employees. They're like, just come, we'll train you. Please, please, we need people. And that's fine because you don't need a college degree to do so many of the jobs working for the state. I don't think I've never worked for the state, but trust me, I've dealt with people who work for the state before. You don't need a college degree. You don't need a college degree to inspect the trucks for tire pressure coming across the border in Texas. Like a day's training, you're good to go.
Part of Texas Governor Greg Abbott's new plan to counter federal immigration policies, which don't work. Meanwhile, at the border, those illegal
It does nothing to counter the immigration policies. Him moving the not the refugees, the immigrants, the legal immigrants to the DC area doesn't actually fix immigration.
immigrants are now snapping
Wait,
selfies
what'd she say?
because he said he would, and it's happened. They're steps away from the U.S. Capitol. It's part of Texas Governor Greg Abbott's new plan to counter federal immigration policies, which don't work. Meanwhile, at the border, those illegal immigrants are now snapping selfies as they cross. A move that the National Border Patrol Council president suggests.
She's correct. They are illegal at that moment when they come across the border. If they haven't been processed by the federal government, they are illegal. She's right.
Is emboldening the cartels and free advertising for their services. Rachel, I come to you first.
Wow. So, listen, when I first heard that he was going to have buses in D.C., I thought, well, it's a gimmick. A lot of them are El Salvadorans who probably could use a ride to D.C. where they're, big El Salvadoran communities. But I kind of get what they're trying to do. They're saying if Kamala and Joe Biden won't come to the border.
I want to say, I think this is the first time I've ever said that she was correct, but she is. Oh, and we're dying. Come on, stream. You might get some buffering on your end. That's on my end. I just saw the stream. Okay, we're back up again. So something happened there. It was just a hiccup. Stephanie put the Pence video in the direct message. So remind me, we'll watch that after we catch up on whatever these people have to say.
We're going to bring the border to them. And so I guess in this case, make this kind of a gimmick, this kind of a stunt.
It is a gimmick. It is a stunt. She's right.
Is going to, they hope, will bring attention to, I think, this neglect. And I think the neglect is even more highlighted by the fact that in Ukraine, we're sending all kinds of weapons. We're helping the Ukrainians defend their border and their right to national sovereignty. And it just seems like no one cares here. And I was just at the border in Texas.
No, nobody is saying that the U.S. doesn't have sovereignty. No one is saying that. No one is not defending the border. The reason that these people have been captured and then processed and are now legally in this country is because we're doing things at the border. By the way, when they're processed, when they're legally released into the United States, that enables them to enter the workforce and pay taxes. Taxes to do things, if they're in Texas, like inspect every truck twice, but only the outside.
Week, and people feel really abandoned. They feel like no one in our capital gives a damn about them.
I know, and it's just like Ukraine. It's just like, you know what really bugs me? When someone comes up from El Salvador and then carpet bombs El Paso. That makes me angry, especially when there's a bunch of children in a school and outside written on the ground is very clearly children in Spanish. Damn you, people from El Salvador. It's exactly the same as Russia invading Ukraine. Exactly. I don't know if there's a little button or something I can press to show that I'm being sarcastic, but that's, yeah. They're not the same thing. They're not even comparable.
That's just tragic. Thank you. So first of all, I'll be excited to see your
They are apples and a light post.
package. Yep. That you're going onto the border in a couple of weeks. We'll be looking for that, and you're reporting.
Oh boy, I cannot wait.
From there, I think what strikes me is the fact that we have officials in Mexico that are citing the inevitable ensuing confusion when Title 42 is extinguished. We have reports of the amount of people who are waiting. So we know that well over 1 million or 4 million, people were expelled under Title 42 since the Trump administration.
Yeah. By the way, that's incorrect. Many of those people are the same people being expelled multiple times.
Administration enacted it, and now we have 2,500 people waiting in Tijuana, 1,500 in Mexicali, 100,000 in Chiapas, 2,000 expected to form a caravan in San Pedro Sula in Honduras. These are masses.
Wait, can anybody hear what he's saying? Because I can't. You can't hear me. I am coming through. Something else? Hello, Joanna. Are you not? Is anybody hearing me? Can I be heard? Am I seen? Yeah, Marcy can hear me. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Jojo, your ear pod fell out.
Amounts of
No,
people
somebody tell her in the chat that her ear fallen out. She's ill. She's
waiting for that title to be lifted, and with Mexican officials saying there will be ensuing chaos, and you have zero parameter, zero process that we know of that is clear for people to apply for asylum. So if they expect to be confused,
no. These are not people that qualify for asylum. Different thing. Again, just if there's any more than one option with these people, they can't handle it. These are not people that qualified for asylum, or they would still be in the country, regardless of Title 42. Title 42 was not for asylum seekers.
can't imagine what those Americans on the border protecting their own land that they pay taxes on are feeling at this moment.
So I want to give you the quote from that Mexican official that Emily's talking about. If they do it in person, there will be a chaos at the border because everyone will want to leave the shelters and arrive at the border and stand in line. So that's going to create chaos for them. Telling the Daily.
Yeah. Yes. But you know what? There's already chaos at the border. So there's chaos in the camps. But given the opportunity, okay, no more Title 42. Now you can come and be processed. Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare. But here's the thing, it's the CDC's process. They are the ones who decide whether or not the Title 42 is still in effect. And it could ramp up again, and the CDC could say, like, hold on, we're not doing this yet. I don't know. But yes, Title 42 is from the CDC. The CDC gets to say when it starts and when it ends. The administration doesn't really have a choice there.
Mail that if they literally.
And by the way, any time Congress can work together and come up with better solutions for the border, that can be done.
Lift 42, Title 42 on May 23rd, there will be immediate.
You know, it's interesting because you already had some officials from within the border and the national.
We're buffering, like serious buffering. This stream is dying. I don't know if I can go on. Hold on. I don't know if anyone can even see me at this point because we got a lot of lag. I'm just putting in the chat room that buffering and might be dying. I don't know. I'll give it a second here to see if it comes back, but we might have to end the broadcast. Okay, now it's green. So we're back. Okay. This is a studio basically built by a dog. So what are you going to do? Apparently not watch what we're watching. Go ahead.
Security Council that are responsible for the border that have resigned in the Biden administration because they're so frustrated about it. I went to D.C. last week. The D.C. folks, I did MOS, they don't want them there. Right? The people of compassion, the people.
Wait till Florida starts sending theirs.
My home state of Texas, we're about done. We've reached the height of this. I'm heading back to the border right after the show to go back and report on what's happened on the ground. But this is what I can tell you, from DPS, the Border Patrol that are there. They have used every tool that they have in their belt while still fighting.
That's Texas, by the way. He's talking about DPS Texas. He's not talking about DHS, Department of Homeland Security, CBP, etc.
The Biden administration.
And COVID, because they're coming across COVID positive.
Harris, they offered to buy. First day in office, President Biden decided that he's just going to stop building the wall. And not just the wall, the technology that is used.
Yeah, the wall's useless. The wall's still there. No one has taken down any of the wall. Doesn't stop this from happening. The wall itself, and this is a couple of months old, the wall itself, according to government officials, has been breached more than 3,000 times. You can just cut a hole in the wall and go through. The wall doesn't really do much. It's a huge, huge waste of taxpayer money stolen from the military families.
There, Texas, it's already paid for. Texas offered to buy it. They said no. No. So then we have to go purchase. It's already the taxpayers to begin with. It's impacting Texas the most. We have to go buy the material to start structuring
Say hi to your stepdaughter, Allison. Hi, Allison's stepdaughter.
the wall. The Democrats that are on the border, they're upset as well. So much so that the Democrats in those areas have switched to Republican. And still the Biden administration is not doing anything about it.
Well, and you see Congresswoman Hassan, who's saying she did a live shot in front of the wall. We showed it last hour. And she said, you know, we need physical. And I'm like, that's the wall. She's calling for a wall. She's standing in front of the wall. She said, you need physical deterrent. She's talking about building a wall. And I'm like, is she hallucinating? Does she realize
Not that wall. Doesn't work.
she's a Democrat?
Right, that is a wall. As Lawrence points out, you know, there are political repercussions to this. And you'd think, I mean, President Biden clearly doesn't
By the way, it's a fence. Can we just call it a fence? It's clearly not a wall.
care about what this means for the country. You think he'd care about what it means for his political future in the midterms? He doesn't. He should go, and I would never suggest this, but in this case, I would go talk to President Obama.
Okay, I would never suggest this, but in this case, I would.
Yeah. You were right there. 2014, you were by his side when there were 60,000 unaccompanied minors. This is approaching perhaps 200,000. That is 4 times the amount of crisis of President Obama. And remember, Obama built those cages for the kids? That's the humanitarian disaster we are looking at. Obama was warned about that. Biden's been warned about this. Unlike Biden, Obama actually did a national address on it. A national address. He did it from the Rose Garden. Can we ever get a national address from Biden on this?
You know that would make it worse.
It's never going to happen.
Biden's in several national addresses. How does that fix anything? And yet, remember, Obama's in the past. So everything he did is already in the record books. Biden's not necessarily done on this. And Biden has talked about immigration many, many times. I don't know what kind of national address you want.
I mean, look at him on the world stage. Do you
The
really
New York Times pitch bot on Twitter. It's a very funny account on Twitter that makes fake New York Times headlines. They did a very funny headline the other day. It's like 12 days since President Zelensky has done press conference. Which is so? Same thing. Here in this, Biden hasn't done a press conference. Remember, he hadn't done a press conference for 60 days, 90, whatever it was. And then he did the longest press conference in history. Now everyone's shut up. It'll start up again. And here it is. Why hasn't Biden done a national address on immigration? Here we go.
think that would make it better? I'm not being
it'd make it worse. He'd probably get pooped on by a bird again.
All right, we're going to move. Well, are we getting to...
Which is good luck in many cultures. Biden yesterday giving a speech. He was in a barn, and a bird in the barn pooped on him.
That later?
Oh, I think next segment.
Okay. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, inflation hitting a new 40-year high. But the Biden administration says, don't blame us, blame Putin. He thinks we don't own a calendar or a calculator.
Okay, but also there's many, many other things. By the way, you can't really blame the administration. The administration is not causing the inflation. It's a lack of supply and a huge demand. So you could blame the administration for helping the economy surge. You could do that, but that's how inflation is caused. It's not caused by too much money in the economy. We know that because of the late 70s with stagflation. Milton Friedman was wrong. We know that because of Keynesian, but well, Keynes is wrong as well on this. In 2009, we injected $1 trillion in the economy, and we did not have inflation. That's not what does it. The economy is rebuilding. Same thing happened in 2009, and in 2009, the economy rebuilt slowly and kept going, and we were coming out of the Great Recession, and inflation was fine because goods were being supplied. Right now, goods are not being supplied to the demand. We're still running into COVID. This is 80% COVID and now 20% the attack on Ukraine. Sorry, I keep calling it the Ukraine. Old habits. That's affecting the price of fuel. And when fuel goes up, everything goes up, as well as the oil companies making record profits.
Now the media are doing...
Again, can't blame the oil companies because that's their job. Their job is to make as much money for their shareholders as they possibly can.
Doing just that.
Breaking news from Liberty: subway station shooter has been arrested. I think that they have a person of interest. They don't have an actual suspect, but everyone thinks it's that guy. So We'll see what happens. That'll all. The other reason I don't really want to talk about it that much is because we don't know. We don't know yet. We'll find out more. This is the fog of war, literally the smoke of war in this case, because he released firecrackers that were smoke bombs.
Pointing the finger. Next.
Oh, we gotta wait. Hold on. Let's see if I can just jump forward because I do want to hear what they have to say about inflation. Not because their opinion is that important to anything, but because the more news about this, the better for my knowledge base. Okay, here we go. Let's see. YouTube TV's been giving me a lot of problems recently. Let's see if it cooperates here. Go ahead. Maybe not. With all the there we go.
Welcome back. Inflation hit another 40-year high for the fifth straight month in March. And once again, President Biden, of course, shifting the blame.
We felt it. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world.
That's correct.
We saw today's inflation data. 70% of the increase in prices in March came from Putin's price hike in gasoline.
Yes, also correct. By the way, gas is on its way down here in the States.
And just like loyal foot soldiers, the liberal lapdog media, well, they got the message. The Washington Post reporting, quote, Russia's war in Ukraine drove up energy prices even higher.
That is accurate.
Right. NBC News business tweeting inflation rose because of the war in Ukraine. Yep.
And rent hikes. See where there right there says rent hikes. Okay.
And The Hill tweeting
and rents went up significantly last month. That is also true.
Russia-Ukraine war fueled inflation. They got the message.
Consumer prices spike in March as Russia. It doesn't say because of that. It says as that also happened. So yeah, these are all correct.
Harris.
Yeah, I think they're getting another message that this segues into, and that is the idea that, well, if it's Putin's fault.
Right, but you guys are all sitting there saying that it's Biden's fault. Okay? It is part of it may be Biden's fault for being such a great president. And I don't think I've ever said that before. But he's doing a great job with the economy. Inflation is bad, economy very, very good. Workers' wages very good. There are parts of the economy that are fantastic, parts of the economy that need help. But he's doing everything in his power to bring the gas prices lower. And guess what? It's working. I'll be Biden and then people could be freaked out. And guess what? It's working.
Than anybody who was buying or continuing to buy Russian oil.
Producer Jojo, the may be choppy in the house, but you know what? The throughput coming out of here is fantastic right now. So somewhere it could be YouTube. Who knows? Who knows? I should just broadcast like in 640 or something. Just try and get as much throughput as we can. You know what you can do? Jojo, if you're watching on your phone, I know you have an iPhone. I don't know. I know with an Android, what you can do is hit the settings, which is the little gear up in the corner. It's maybe down in the corner for you. I don't know. I don't have an iPhone. But you hit the little settings button, and then you choose the resolution. Sometimes it'll go auto, which it just gets lazy and chooses whatever. If you choose highest or good resolution or 1080 or whatever it is, then it's going to be forced to give that stream as much data as it can get, and you might do better that way. I don't know.
And that gets taken away, then it will also be a world.
Oh, you weren't on the Wi-Fi. Okay. Broadcast via Atari. Yeah, no, I have a 2600. That's how I broadcast at home at the Stable Boy Studios. Rusty Boy Studios, this is all new technology. So, I mean, it's dog years. So.
Problem, a global problem. It won't just be us. It's kind of like
inflation is a global problem.
Well, it's happening everywhere. That is not the bandwagon that I think we want to get on. Let me give you just one example.
Well, no, you can't blame one country. Oh, look at the problem here. Well, this is happening all over the planet. I know, but look at it here. Yeah, I get it. It's happening everywhere. So maybe it's not something that we're doing necessarily in this country. Okay, buffering issues again. Sorry, guys.
Example of this. This isn't Putin's inflation. And
okay, so it looks, so we're getting verification here. Apparently, the gentleman who's a person of interest in the subway shooting, possibly a suspect now. Again, I don't know. has been arrested. Good.
If there were, and I've got to read from here because all the cameras are in front of that wall. Okay. Okay. Well, look at prices are elevated here in the United States. They're elevated all around the world because we are part of a global supply constrained economy. We are seeing elevated inflation across the euro area, some of the highest numbers ever recorded here. It's happening all over. And when you watch some of the other
That's true. And when that happens, the people of the country typically blame the party in power, even though it might not have anything to do with them.
liberal networks, I've been looking at it just recently. If it's not organically part of the conversation that they've all written, that segment, then the questioner says, oh, well, isn't this a world problem? And what does that allow us to do? It allows us to take any of the emphasis off of what we could be doing to make our situation better here at home, to transform.
Well, no. No, it does not. It takes the onus of the blame off of the people here at home. But what we could be doing is an entirely different subject. So no, of course not. And things are being done. Wow. Just, I don't know how people's brains work like that. You're talking about two different things, before and after. This is Grover territory. It's not complicated.
What little oil that we might already have in the pipeline in an actual pipeline, right? Fracking, whatever our options.
You know what I should do when I'm broadcasting away from the studio is I should record and then post the recorded version after with the chat and everything. That way, if you missed a bunch, if the stream went down, if you were interested in seeing more of it, or people watching in the future are not going to see all of the buffering. They're going to see an actual live recording. So I'm going to do that from now on. Remind me to do that.
Might be. It takes all the focus off of that, and it makes us victims on a global stage. Like, we can lock arms with all the European countries and just say we're victims together. No, we're not. We can do things that they can't do.
Yeah.
But we have to be allowed to do them. So we've got a new scapegoat. It's Putin. And the next one is going to be, well, we're in it to win it with every.
We're not victims of inflation. No one is being carpet bombed by inflation. Talk about a victim mentality. I'm a victim because bacon is $3.99. Oh, you poor thing. Thoughts in pairs. Thoughts in pairs. It went away. All right. Well, this is why you pay me the big bucks. Come on. All right. So, are we're dead? Oh, we're back. Now we're back. I know we're dead. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Sorry.
Everybody.
Oh, now
watch
we're back.
for the talking point. It's not going to work, just like the rest of.
All right, guys. I'm just getting such inconsistent. It looks like we're back temporarily. Okay, now we're gone. Oh boy. Hold on. I'm chatting right now in the chat room. Okay, guys, the internet is just not happy right now. Now we're back, but I can see the meter going down and up and all over the place. It's too inconsistent to really consider the broadcast. So I'll say goodbye here in a second. We'll watch until it goes down again, which could be a second. And then if I disappear, it's because it's just not cooperating at all. And I'll go try some other stuff for the day. Let's see. I'll hit play here.
They know what the problem is.
It won't work, but take a look at this rare moment of candor from MSNBC.
There's no way for the Biden administration to sugarcoat this. Everyone is feeling this, whether they're at the gas station or the grocery store, or wherever it is. They're trying this line.
Okay, we're done. Sorry, guys. Internet's just not cooperating. So we're going to say goodbye. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Most importantly, be good to a dog.